And I want to move on here in my interview with Gary Kah. And those of you who've listened to Understanding the Times radio for years know that he's a frequent guest, and he's got books that he's written on the coming one world system, and the Bible talks about that coming one world system, and that's why this whole EU phenomenon, the Brexit phenomenon, is very important from a biblical perspective. We'll try to get to that just a little bit later. But Gary Kah and Eric Barger, who's in studio with me, give me your take on the globalists' perspective of America's election 2016. What do you think they are thinking right now?
Well, between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, Hillary has long been, I call her the darling of the one world New Age movement. She's not just a globalist, but she also is a New Ager. We know from past quotes and statements and things that she has herself said about her spirituality, that she has dabbled in some things that she should not have dabbled in. That's putting it mildly. So both from a New Age perspective and from a strictly political globalist perspective, she's the first choice. Donald Trump has kind of been all over the place in the last few years, but he has recently committed himself strongly to the pro-sovereignty movement, saying put America first. So if he runs on that platform and then does the opposite once he's elected, he'd be viewed as a huge traitor. It looks as if he is going to do what he can to put America first if he gets in. We'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be a close election. I think it's going to be nasty and dirty all the way to the end. And what it's going to come down to is, I believe, the candidate that is hated the most by their own party members will be the one to lose. So the question becomes, do more Republicans hate Trump than Democrats hate Hillary Clinton? And we really don't know the answer to that. This is really a very unique election cycle because you have good 10 to 15% of Democrats right now that don't want to come on board with Hillary, and you have about the same percentage of Republicans that feel the same way about Trump. So how many people are going to stay at home and not vote at all? How many will cast a protest vote for someone who isn't even running? We really don't know what's going to happen this November, but I think it's going to be a close election. If Trump gets in, I believe globalists are going to be concerned, especially early on. If Trump does half the things that he says he's going to do, it would cause some of the one world plans to unravel. But if he bows under pressure and changes his mind, it could be a different story. I think we're all in agreement on this. I talked to you about it the other day, Jan, off the air. If Trump is truly a patriot, and if he is truly opposed to the New World Order now, then his life could be in danger between now and the election, or if he does get elected even, beyond that, into January. We are living in a very uncertain time, politically speaking. And there are a lot of people changing their minds almost daily. I've heard people make one prediction 3 weeks ago and then say something completely different 10 days ago, and now this morning change their mind again. This thing is very fluid. We don't know what's going to happen between now and November, if there's going to be some type of international crisis. We don't know what's going to happen with protests in this country. But things are very tense, and they can change in a moment. I hope, for the sake of being able to continue to get the gospel message out and to get the truth out, that the Lord would intervene, that there would be repentance in our country, and that the Lord would give us some more time. One thing I can tell you for certain based upon her record, if Hillary Clinton is elected, if she gets in, there will be major changes, more of the same on the one hand, like the Obama administration, but she is going to go all out during the first 2 years of her presidency to implement the global agenda. And one other thing I want to comment on, and that has to do with the Supreme Court. At least 2, maybe 3, or even 4 Supreme Court justices will be appointed by the next president. We know who Hillary is going to pick if she gets in. They're going to be very liberal individuals with a strongly anti-Christian worldview. Trump has committed to running his picks through some conservative organizations, think tanks. So far, it's been encouraging, the people who he would consider as his Supreme Court justices, if he honors his word. He's come up with a list of, I think it was about 12 to 15 different justices that would be at the top of his consideration. And most of those are pretty solid individuals as far as being conservative, pro-Constitution justices. And they have a pretty solid track record. So if for no other reason, if Trump, again, honors his word on that, then I would hope that he would get in over Hillary. But like I said at the outset, Trump is very unpredictable. You don't know for sure what the man's going to do. Mike Pence, he has taken, the current Indiana governor as his running mate. Of course, I'm from Indiana. I've known some of the people close to Pence over the years, and I do believe overall that is a solid pick for Trump because it will help to stabilize the ticket. The question is, to what degree will Trump listen to Pence? Pence doesn't make a lot of big waves, tends to operate quietly. Christians in Indiana haven't always been in his corner because of the few decisions he made, but on the whole, Indiana has fared pretty well under his leadership. And like I said, I think he is a stabilizing influence. So let me encapsulate and summarize what I would do if I was Donald Trump right now. I would name at least 5 to 7 of my top cabinet members who I would appoint if I became president of the United States. I'd name them up front in the next few weeks, at the latest by early September. In that way, the American people would feel that they are getting a package deal. They would see what the administration would look like and what kind of decisions more than likely Trump will make. And I think it would be a stroke of genius on his part if he came forward that way, doing something that no other presidential candidate has done in recent memory, because that would let the American people know exactly who he would rely on, who his main advisors would be, and who the decision makers are going to be. If he does that, I think a lot more Christians would be willing to come on board and vote for Trump. But right now, he's still viewed by a segment of the population as being unpredictable, and the question I hear almost every day is, can we trust?
Right.
Will he really do what he says he's going to do, or will he flip-flop when he gets into office?
Yeah, that's been probably the biggest question, because we see different positions in the past, and I agree, everybody can change, and I certainly hope the positions he's taking today are truly absolutely in his heart, and this is where he is, and this is where he's going to be. Since early this year, he's been talking down on globalism. He's been talking up nationalism, talking up patriotism, and obviously he's taken that position. During his acceptance speech, he mentioned that we wouldn't bend to the globalists. We would certainly put United States first, and that scares the globalists, that kind of idea. I think this is going to be the roughest, no-holds-barred, dirtiest election. They're going to pull out every stop possible to, in any way they can, denigrate Trump, no matter what. I mean, if they could, they would put him in a Ku Klux Klan outfit and parade him around. It's going to be that bad. And if we think it's bad today, folks, just wait till October. I think unless something really monumentally awful happens in the meantime.